Welcome to episode 9 of the Get Real Gaming Podcast, a show where we get real talking about the latest video game news and releases. I'm Richard, and with me, as always, is the co-host stuck on a chip in my head, Lawrence. How are you doing today?
It's a bit empty in here.
On the chip, yeah, not my head.
Apart from that, I'm okay.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. Sure, yeah.
Here's a shovel.
Yeah.
Go dig yourself out of that one.
Why did we shovel to get out this hole which you made for me?
Ah, yes. A deep valley of gaming knowledge today.
A very deep valley.
Very deep valley.
Oh, so deep.
You all right? You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, all right.
I promise we don't drink before these episodes.
No, we don't.
We should do, though.
I wonder what would change. Probably not much.
Well, if anyone wants to see that, ask us to make a Patreon and we might do an extra episode of Drunk Get Real Gaming podcast.
Get Drunk Gaming.
You know the issue. Right?
The Get Very Drunk Gaming Real Gaming Podcast.
Well, you can't say that after a few. Get very real, very drunk, very real podcast.
Yeah, we need quite a lot of acronyms to help us out, I think, with that one. Now, listen, was Cyberpunk a success or a flop? What do you reckon?
We will get into that, okay?
Oh.
There's some other news we need to deal with first.
Okay, well, let's rewind. What have you been playing this week, Lawrence?
I've been playing Farmville. Didn't
that get discontinued?
That's a blast of the past, isn't it? Yeah, it did.
So how have you been managing that?
Well, I've got Time Machine, you see.
Ah, yeah.
But now I've been playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
That's it.
You've not.
That's all I've been
wait
playing.
a minute. What about Football Manager?
Not even touched it. Not even touched it.
I can't believe it. You interrupted an entire episode because you were so dedicated to the craft, and now you're not even playing it.
Well, it's mid-season break.
Mid-season.
I'm allowed.
Wrexham.
No, not part of Wrexham anymore.
Oh?
No. We got a contract from I got a contract from RB Leipzig in Germany. I'm in Germany right now.
Okay.
Can't hear the band playing behind me and the whole pouring of beer and all that shit.
Brilliant. So just Cyberpunk. You've been diving deep into Cyberpunk, and how far have you gotten through Cyberpunk at this point?
I don't know. I don't know how long this is, but it's a bit.
But how much that you've been doing is main story, and how much of it is side questing?
Well, it's weird because they're kind of all linking together. It's a very peculiar game. Yeah. Because the side missions are very similar to main story quests and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll get onto that. We will get onto that. There's more important, well, not more important, but there's other stuff happening this week, isn't there? But before we get into that, what have you been playing?
Me, I have. I also went and picked up Cyberpunk, Lawrence. I thought to myself, you know what? It's such a big deal that we're probably just going to have to go ahead and get on board, and so we can chat about it. Obviously for the pod. So,
for work. Yeah. This is going to be in your tax returns for business purposes.
We've got no business, Lawrence. This is literally
This is the business. We are the business.
Yeah, so I picked up Cyberpunk. I've actually been playing more Mega Aquarium. I've been playing more Mega Aquarium. It's great. And obviously we played a little bit of Call of Duty because it's a double XP right now. So playing that. What else have I been playing?
I'm not sure. I'm kind of glad we're not on cameras because you would just see me shaking my head.
But it's great, Lawrence. It's so good. Really great. Like me and my girlfriend are having a great time playing it. I haven't really played much of any of the Jingle Jam stuff that we talked about since last week.
Oh, I completely forgot about the Jingle Jam this week.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit gone off
second week wasn't the best option, really. First week was the better.
But I'm still looking forward to playing a couple of the games. Yeah. So we'll have to get into that at some point. But yeah, it's been mostly Cyberpunk, so. But Lawrence, that's not what we're here to talk about today, is it? We're here to get through all the news, the latest, the greatest, the most interesting parts of the week in gaming. So why don't you start us off on the first bit of news this week?
Well, on the day this podcast goes out, by the time you're listening to this, if you're listening on the day it comes out, it's the Season 1 of Call of Duty Cold War.
Finally.
Yes, Queen.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be good. And what we've had announcements and leaks and all that, haven't we? So
we talked a little bit about that. I think the last pod or the pod before that. I think it was the last pod about Stitch and the new character, and they finally confirmed that Rebirth Island is the new Warzone map. It's going to be more condensed, more close quarters, and that's kind of where I prefer. I love close quarter combat. I think it's just so much more tactical and so much more better than the open world kind of stuff.
Have they said how many players are going to be in this map? Because in the current Warzone map, you can have like 160 odd players dropping in. Like, it's huge games. So I couldn't imagine 160 players dropping into this size of a map.
Well, let me on the pod Google.
Oh yeah. The getrealanswers.com.
Getrealanswers.com, our main source that is, clearly ran by monkeys. We've got new game modes coming in, which looks pretty cool. Side note. New zombie game modes as well.
Yes.
New prestige level. Here we go. New Warzone content. That's what we're after, isn't it?
It's all Warzone.
Oh, yes. So it's got trios and quads with a lower player count, but they haven't said how low.
So there you go. That's our question. Good job, eh? That didn't take you long to find that answer.
There is also a new gulag.
Yeah, we've heard that.
So it's time to step out of the gulag showers as prisoners of Warzone are now dragged to an interrogation room, strapped to a chair and thrown into an all-new gulag, where 1v1 battles are similar, but the arena is completely different. It's like an interior nuke town.
Wow, okay. Interesting.
Yeah
that'll be cool. But how is that interrogation then?
Well, no, you're dragged in for interrogation, then you're made to fight 1v1. I imagine very much like a Black Ops 1 versus like that kind of stuff.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, that's exciting, and we'll obviously be...
Wait, there's another one. There's a second gulag.
What?
There's two gulags.
Two gulags?
There's one underneath the Rebirth Island prison block. So I imagine that's very similar to the other one.
Well...
Yeah,
Lawrence, we're never going to get to the gulag anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We'll never see it. We'll be too busy. We're too busy getting the world record kill streaks.
Too busy winning, obviously.
Too busy.
By winning,
we'll never see the gulag. It's not important. It's not news.
I mean, we die. It's Sam that really just carries the group.
Let's move swiftly on. Let's move swiftly on then. Okay.
Sorry, chest infection.
You guys are probably sick of hearing about award ceremonies now because we're sick of talking about them, but we'll briefly brush over.
So we're not going to. Let's go straight on over to
let's move over. Nothing to see here. Game Awards 2020. I actually preferred them to the Joystick Awards.
Yeah, because they had more other stuff to look at.
Yeah.
Rather than The Last of Us Part 2 plastered all over it.
I know, but I actually think that the awards that were given out, the games were represented better than we saw in the joysticks. We had a wider variety of games getting different types of awards. I felt like it was much more balanced,
Not according to this list, it isn't.
Uh-oh. Well, okay, look, The Last of Us Part 2 is getting some of the awards.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 awards! It's getting 7 again!
Yeah, but there's also, a lot of other good games won awards that I do believe they should have.
I wouldn't mind, right? But Game of the Year was Last of Us Part 2, yet Player's Voice, which was voted for by players, was Ghost of Tsushima. Explain that one. How is that different?
It's just politics. You just can't... I think that...
It's bollocks is what it is.
I think what we've learned is that you can't trust any of these, especially considering most anticipated game was Elden Ring.
I mean, to be fair, that is pretty anticipated.
Yeah, it is, but
everyone wants it.
Yeah, but there's been nothing about like said or heard or talked about. Like, it's not like people are doing.
That's why it's most anticipated, because no one knows what the hell is going to happen.
No, but it's like, you'd assume that by now people be making YouTube channels like, oh, Elden Ring conspiracy theories. Let's talk about, what's going to happen? What does the E mean? Oh God.
I mean, I imagine they have, but it's not in our sphere of influence.
Well, I don't even remember the nominees. I just remember thinking that can't be the most anticipated game considering. Anyway.
I mean, I think Halo Infinite was in there.
That's got to be more anticipated than Elden Ring.
Not really. I mean, after the last debacle with the graphical setting, I don't think that was. I think that's dropped like a brick. Yeah, to be perfectly honest. For us, it's most anticipated.
Then we had that article
for the rest of the community
on Halo Waypoint showing off how good it does actually look now.
Yeah, but that excited us. That didn't excite everyone else, it seems.
We've not even seen anything about Elden Ring yet.
Yeah, but it's got George R.R. Martin on board. That's the whole. It's the Game of Thrones thing. That's what they've got.
But it just don't.
It's bollocks. It's bollocks. We know. It's fine.
Yeah. Ongoing game. No Man's Sky. Big seeing you.
I mean, that was pretty good. I mean, you were like, it can't win. It's not ongoing. I was like, it's gonna win, and it did win. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
just saying.
Doesn't deserve it.
It's a good game.
Doesn't deserve it.
It totally.
No, it doesn't. It's
totally
still a complete
totally
mess, and not that many people are playing it anymore.
A lot of people play it. Have you even gave it a go the last month?
Yeah, no, it doesn't deserve to win ongoing game though. When you've got so many other games that are ongoing, that one is probably the smallest. Player base.
What would be your ongoing game?
Well, I mean, it would have been anything other than No Man's Sky.
If you say Elder Scrolls Online, I swear to God, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to poke you.
No, I don't think it would have been Elder Scrolls.
I'm going to poke you.
I would have probably given it to Call of Duty or something, just from the player base and the amount of support and the events that they were doing, and just they did a lot.
Cold War just came out, so technically,
but Warzone is still considered.
Was Warzone in it? Was Warzone in the?
I don't actually know if it was nominated. I'm assuming it was.
Again, I'm talking to the monkeys.
Oh yeah. Beep 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 beep.
Said monkeys, not bloody PC.
Well, you were chipping my head talking to the monkeys, so.
Best ongoing. Here we go. Yeah, Warzone was in here and Fortnite, but everyone voted for No Man's Sky. I'm happy for Ghost of Tsushima to win Art Direction. I think that was very, very
perfect,
well deserved, very well deserved.
Yeah.
Score and music and best role playing game to Final Fantasy VII Remake, again deserved. But for role playing game, I would have said personally Persona 5 Royale. But Final Fantasy VII Remake is a.
Yeah, it's just still, either of them could have won it, and it would have been good either way.
Yeah. Any other notable thing? Not really.
Animal Crossing got Family Game, which is a nice one.
I guess kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Hades got 2.
Not Animal Crossing. Among Us got 2, didn't they?
Yeah,
mobile game and multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Just seeing the 4 of them, because it is just 4 people, just get all emotional like that. It's just like, yeah, I've done good today.
And I think that it's quite an inspirational thing as well to see. Like, if you're a young developer or you're developing a game with your friends and stuff, it just goes to show that if something does take off, a lot can happen. It's quite a hopeful award to win for those guys and people watching.
There were obviously a lot of announcements that night as well, alongside all the awards, like Mass Effect and Master Chief and
Master Chief in Fortnite, that is.
Yeah. Swedish Chef in Overcooked.
Sorry, I'm just getting a bit distracted. I was just checking something on our pod thing.
What were you checking?
Well, so Sam said he was going to send us a voice clip, and he hasn't done. So I'm a bit disappointed by that. I was just checking to see whether he'd done it, but
look. By the time after we record this, we'll probably be on voice call with him tonight, and like, Sam, get your ass in gear.
Exactly.
What's wrong with you?
We'll tell him off.
It's fine. It'll be in the edit. It's fine.
So just when you think I wasn't going to send you a voice clip, here's your voice clip. So Warhammer 40k Darktide. So if you don't know, Warhammer is, especially the 40k variant, is very grim and dark. And this gameplay looks very, very grim and dark. It looks good. It looks good. You've got an Ogryn, which is the big guy. You've got the Imperial Guard dude. You've got like a Special Forces guy who's the guy with the helmet, I'm assuming. You've got chainswords that are sick and brutal, and it's like Gears of War turned up to 11. It looks like it's going to be a very cool version of Left 4 Dead, and it looks like it's taking it in a really interesting direction. It does look, though, that they had a bit of a change of mind in terms of what they were going to have as the enemies, because I'm sure the concept art we saw a while ago for this game had like more demon-y kind of things, which would have been cool if you're a big nerd like me. Demons of Nurgle's always really cool. But yeah, it looks like now you're fighting Traitor Guard, who are just the bad versions of who you're playing as, basically. Yeah. I've just shown how much of a Warhammer nerd I am, but this gameplay looks good. Let's hope it looks like how it is, and it doesn't just play like absolute garbage when it comes out.
I remember Whoop Alert a lot. There was a lot of whooping going on.
Oh, on Pokemon Go. Yeah, that was weird.
On Pokemon Go. Yeah, that was weird.
I mean...
And it was weird that we gave her like half the awards before the show started.
Yeah, I don't like the way that they blitz through the most important part and then just talk about the premieres. You know, they just kind of go, they just did like 3 or 4 ones randomly, just skipping through. And then they do one big award, and then they do like a premiere, and they skip through a few more awards. So, and I mean, I know that they have to get through the whole thing in a short amount of time, but, you know, it's an award ceremony.
It felt more like E3 than anything.
Yeah. That's it though, isn't it? That's all we need to talk about. That's it. Game Awards done for the year. No more. That's it. I'm brushing my hands clean of that. We don't need to talk about any more award ceremonies for a bit. So,
I feel cleansed. I feel so cleansed.
Super cleansed.
Oh,
well, now let's get down and dirty, Lawrence.
Yeah, I just got clean.
I know.
But
we're heading into the future, into the world.
Are we?
Of Cyberpunk 2077.
Do you want to do my Keanu Reeves impression as well?
Yeah, you can do your Keanu Reeves impression. Go on.
We're going into the future, Cyberpunk 2077. You better prepare yourself, bro. I went into more Chadish.
So just let me know when you're going to do the impression, and I'll...
Yeah. You know what? Cut this out. Forget it. I'll leave it. It's fine.
Right. Cyberpunk
2077. There we go. That's a bit better.
We're playing it. We're giving it a good go. Do you know how many hours you put in?
Yes, we are playing it. We are indeed playing it.
Yeah.
You want me to tell me how many hours I put in?
Yeah, I'll find out how many hours I've put in.
I'm going to have to launch the game and find out.
Just
Give me a minute.
Steam. Oh, wait. You're not buy it through Steam?
I don't have it on Steam.
Oh, okay.
I gave all my money to a random stranger in an alleyway called Pedro.
Oh, okay. I've put 13.2 hours into the game so far, although I actually think it might be closer to 10, and I might have just had the menu screen open for a couple of hours. So let's say 10 hours.
Have you finished the prologue yet?
Yes, I finished the prologue. I didn't...
Oh, thank Christ.
I don't really, I'm not one for huge side-tracking side quests that send you off on random things to go and collect cars and all that. So I'm just, I've not really done much of that. So I'm not really interested in that part.
Honestly, do the side quests. They are so damn good.
No,
like they are on par with the main.
Well, I know that a lot of them are. It's just kind of like the other random ones that are like fetch quests and stuff like that. Yeah.
So how many hours did you say? 13?
Well, I'm going to say 10 because I had the menu open for a bit one day.
Okay, well, I've clocked so far on my save game 28 hours.
Wow, that's almost 3 times as much. And are you through the prologue yet?
No, I'm not. No, I am through the prologue. I'm very much past the prologue, and I'm still reeling over the effects of the prologue.
Yeah.
Is Sam past the prologue yet, or is he still just taking his sweet damn time?
I think he had a 16 gigabyte update on the Xbox One, Lawrence, and we'll have to get into that a little bit. So I don't think I think he's probably been downloading that longer than he's been in the game.
Because he likes to take his time, doesn't he? He does, Sam.
He does. He likes to explore every nook and cranny he can.
Which is weird because you're still only in the prologue. You're only in like one area. And you could completely complete that area, but then you've got like 4, 5, 6 others which you have to do afterwards.
Yeah. And we need to talk about Cyberpunk not just as as the game itself, but kind of as the launch of the game, because
do we?
I mean, we do need to discuss.
Can we just gloss over it?
We can, you know.
Can we sweep it under the rug?
Well, not really, but you know, I think it's worth mentioning that people are having a lot of issues, but you know, you probably are going to if you're on an Xbox One or a PS4.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, I mean, you know, you're playing a last gen console. What do you expect? It's not going to be like the videos. It's the videos. They showed comparison videos of this damn thing, of the PlayStation 4 Pro versus PlayStation 5. They never showed base PlayStation 4. That in itself should indicate to you, maybe I should upgrade with this damn thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's not like they've not been transparent enough. I think they've been more than enough transparent on how it's going to perform.
Yeah.
And like today we were talking about, just outside of the podcast, CD Projekt Red put out a message apologizing profusely and talking about how they were going to give refunds to people who were, you know, who weren't happy, but they were going to patch it and stuff. And then we had like Elon Musk replied to that tweet with a picture of a Reddit post talking about, it was like this guy who was like, is anybody else feeling really sad? Like, I've thought about this game every day for the last 8 years and now I just can't function and I took a week off work and I just wake up and I can't. And it's just like,
get a grip, Christ,
you know,
lad.
if you were that, if you were waiting for that long to play that game, you had about 8 years to save up for a decent computer to play the game on, instead of trying to play it on your PS4 8 years later.
I mean, to be quite frank, I knew Cyberpunk was coming out. It took me, 2-3 months to completely redo my rig.
Yeah.
Of my PC.
Yeah.
Preparing for Cyberpunk.
We had to bend over backwards to get you a 3070 just so that you could have it for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but we did. Yeah, but you did it, didn't you? Yeah, you did it, though, didn't you? You did it for the content.
But you know, that's what you have to do if you're that like serious about it. If this guy is as serious as he is about Cyberpunk as he's saying he is, then he probably should have, you know, thought ahead a bit. Maybe about 8 years ahead.
I think we're slowly getting off topic. Let's kind of bring it back in here.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me just get the rope and ring you back in.
The point
if we go on a rant
is a little bit buggy. You know, I'm experiencing bugs. They're funny. Like I'm not bothered by them. Yeah. You know, like I've had T-posing characters on PC. I'm playing on PC. I've had a few T-poses. I've had a bug where...
Hang on. Stop. We have an itinerary and we're going to stick to the itinerary. We'll talk about that in a minute, okay? Calm down. Hold your horses, all right? Put those brakes on.
Okay.
Slam hard on those brakes.
Right.
Stop.
You know what?
We don't need it.
We'll follow your script then, shall we, today? Go on. Go on, Lawrence, go on then. You take control. I'll just sit back and
I will, Mr.
Off you go.
Body that I'm going to take over, which totally isn't a spoiler.
Go on, off you go.
All right, so Cyberpunk 2077 came out last week, and it was a big download. Oh boy, was it a big download. Oh, Jesus.
What,
anyway,
70 gig?
No, it was more like 80 or 77 gig.
So it's such a big download.
I know. So, we played it, as we have spoken. This is the way. Richard, host of mine.
Yes.
What did you like about Cyberpunk 2077 in your 10 hours of playtime?
So far, I pretty much like everything about it. I mean, the only part I like the... Sorry, I was about to go straight off topic.
I know you were. You're about to go into other itinerary. I'm like, no. Stay on topic.
The story so far has been really good, really great. I love Keanu. I love the way that it's all wired in. I do think there's a couple of bits of it have been unpredictable already in the story, which is nice, and some of it has been a little bit predictable. I could guess.
Can you tell me which ones have surprised you without spoiling it, or is it a massive spoiler? Just so I need to know, just so I can have an air horn that says spoiler warning somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to think whether I can say this without spoiling anything.
Shall I get the air horn? Or should I? Oh, is it such a big spoiler? Do we need to get the Matterhorn?
No, I should probably just say there's a part where you're hiding and I didn't expect what happened while that was happening to happen.
That's so elusive. I don't even know hang on, for starters, which life path did you pick?
I picked Street Kid because I did actually watch the intro for the other for the Nomad. I don't think I've seen the intro for Corpo actually, but
Corpo's pretty cool. I did Corpo.
I just didn't really feel like being a Corpo, so I just felt Street Kid would be kind of cool.
Is there anything like, do you like the gunplay? Do you like the clothing options? Like, what is it that's kind of keeping you going?
Really, it's about like how immersive the world is, like just the scale of the world and how you can just go anywhere and just explore, and it all looks amazing and very interactive, and it really draws you into the game, just the atmosphere of the game. I love the vibe of all the places, with all the music and all the characters. Some of the guns are really cool too and interesting. I really love just like how much imagination in the story they've had in terms of like, what can you do with someone in the future with a problem like this? What kind of things in society, what would society look like? What kind of premium healthcare plans are there? What kind of, like that, one of the first missions, and you have to go and rescue somebody for a job. And it's like, well, the way that you interact with that person that you're trying to save and how, you deal with that situation. It's really cool just how much thought goes into like the chips and like the technology and like the upgrades and things like that. I really love all the characters so far and everything like that. So
who's your favorite character?
At the moment, my favorite character might be Judy.
Oh, interesting choice.
Yeah, I think Judy's my fave. I also really like the Ripper Doc that you know very well. I can't remember his name. Vic. Yeah, I like Vic a lot. And then, from there you can only say Keanu, really, I guess. So those are my favorite characters.
To be fair, when I first encountered Keanu, aka Johnny Silverhand, I didn't like him. He was a bit of a
he is, but he is. He's a very bleepable word of a character, but that's what makes him,
But he's kind of grown on me, It's cool. I like how the characters do have this kind of almost arc that you go with them on, and how much my V has changed from, because I picked the Corpo life path, and so how much he's changed from this Corpo, going all the way to almost to becoming a nomad.
Yeah,
and it's been pretty cool. It's been very, very cool.
It's nice because the world, or the places that you go on the main quest in particular, for example, a lot of the places that you're in are very interactable in terms of things you can scan and look at and stuff. And there's loads of moments where you can just kind of look at something and scan it. And then Johnny Silverhand will appear and start making a comment about it or something. And you have a back and forth just because you looked at something in the room that looked interesting. And I like that because they've added that adds a lot of character to the characters, and you wouldn't have experienced that if you yourself hadn't gone, "Ooh, that looks interesting. What's that?" Scan it, and then all of a sudden you're having a conversation that's character building. It's quite nice. Well, what did you like, Lawrence? What did you like about other than the things we've already talked about?
Well, I've been following this game for nearly the whole 8 years, so I'm kind of the one which has been there from the beginning, and about a year or two ago, my mind kind of exploded with expectation and all this. But when the launch came up, I was kind of tempered on my expectation. I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, and I'm just enjoying it. It just feels like such a personal experience, such an emotional story that's tailored to me, rather than say Witcher 3 was tailored to Geralt's story. This is my V. This is, his story from A to B. I'm already thinking about my second and third and fourth playthrough.
Yeah.
I'm loving especially how missions can be curated. You have a certain set of skills, and there are other pathways for people with other sets of skills to be able to achieve mission completion in some ways. And I love how in NPCs, if say like you got a mission to sneak in somewhere and you start blasting, they either scold you or tell you, and you're meant to be quiet. And you went, look, things have gotten out of hand. Things have happened. And it's like, yes, things have happened. I got caught. Okay, geez. I love the world. Like, I literally spent 20 minutes driving around on the motorway / freeway for our American cousins, just taking in the sights, just watching the city go by. One of my favorite storylines. Well, I've got two favorite storylines so far, which are both from side missions. One of them is with Panam, which I don't think you've met yet.
No, I don't know yet.
Panam's cool. I like Panam. And then there was another one with oh god, what's his name? It's another one with like a cop that you have to kind of help him with his nephew's been kidnapped and you have to go find him, and it's dark, it's twisted, it's one of those where you go, oh Christ, no. And I was playing like 11 o'clock at night and I was getting the creeps from it, but it was just like, I'm not sleeping until this thing is done. I have to find this kid. And there's so many ways, so many avenues this whole story could take, and I've just been completely ignoring the main story.
Right.
Just doing this side mission stuff, but it kind of feels all connected. Like it all fits together. It's not just, you're ignoring the major story to go to the side story. It's like it all feels part of this ecosystem of this world.
Yeah, I will say even the fetch quest sort of side quest that I initially am, hesitant to bother with, they would do things for you. Like at this point in the game, obviously I'm still very early in, but, you might get some cash from it, right? And then there are interactions in the story that you might be able to buy your way through stuff if you've got the money. So if you've paid attention and done a lot of side quest stuff, you might have different options for you to choose from, just kind of as you progress through the main story, because you've gone off and done other things. And there were situations where I wasn't able to just buy my way through stuff because I didn't have enough money to do it, and I had to do something different anyway. And I thought that was really cool because it immediately is like, it's immediately telling you that your actions are connected to how you are able to interact with the world.
Yeah.
I really like that.
So we've said about what we don't like. We said what we like. What don't you like about it?
Well, my grocery list of things I don't like.
Hang on, I'll give you a minute to get out your list.
The first, I think, like the biggest problem that I have right now is actually the gunplay itself on a controller.
Really?
It's very.
Oh yes, yeah.
I don't have a problem with like the functionality of the gunplay. It's just that there's something really off about using a controller for aiming, and I spent like 10-15 minutes trying to tune and adjust controller aiming because I'm playing on controller right now because of my shoulder, and I just couldn't get anything. I can't get anything that feels like I've literally gotten aim down sights, down to the slowest it could possibly be, and it's still too quick for me. I think there's something wrong. I just genuinely think they need to fix it. I do believe as well, Sam mentioned as well that he was, or Chris, one of them, also made a comment without me prompting them about it. And I was like, oh yeah, it's like, me too, like it's really bad right now. And he's played on an Xbox. So it is kind of an issue. It's becoming harder to think about what I don't like now.
Is it just the controller issues?
Could be, but there's obviously other nitpicky things. Sometimes I don't like some of the NPCs and stuff. There's not like that much you can do with some of them. Like a lot of the times you want to talk to somebody and they give you an option to talk, and then you try to talk to them and they just throw a one-handed comment off at you, and I can't respond. And I feel like I'd rather just not have had the option to talk to them, because now I feel like I'm out of control. I don't have control of that situation anymore. Why don't you tell us what you don't like?
Me?
You might spot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like? I'm with you with the controller bit, because I originally started playing with controller, but obviously with the aiming, I just didn't feel right, so I switched to mouse and keyboard. I had to actually get a mod to help me walk and do all sorts of stuff on mouse and keyboard to make it better on PC. So that's something I'm not keen on.
Yeah.
I don't like that you can't customize your V's hair or anything like that.
Oh, that's such a good
character
point.
creation.
You see, this is why I asked you, because it would bring up those things. I'm with you on that. I feel like once you've made your character, we live in a cyber futuristic world where we should just be able to change our appearance. Like we're already changing it all the time by putting in cybernetic stuff, putting in new bits into our body parts. Why can't we just change how we look?
See, I think that's something they're going to bring along later as free DLC, but we'll get onto that and onto the fixes a little bit later on.
Yeah.
What else do I like? I don't like. I didn't like the driving, but then I kind of got used to it. I actually treated it like it was an actual car instead of trying to drift around a bloody corner.
Yeah.
The police AI needs a bit of rework.
Oh, that's so true. I was literally like, one time I went to try and I was just trying to save someone who was like, oh, help, and you just take out a gang or something. And I was in the middle of doing that, and all of a sudden 2 police bots come over and just start shooting me. And I'm like, oh, now I'm being chased by police all of a sudden. And I'm like, what? I haven't done anything. I don't know why I'm getting pinned down for it. Or like literally you'll just nudge past somebody. Like you'll just be walking along the road, like in a mission or something. Like they're like armed dudes, but they wouldn't be aggroed by them seeing you. But then you'll accidentally just bump them, and all of a sudden it's like guns out, shoot. You're just all of a sudden getting shot.
Yeah.
Quite a few places where I've been just randomly started a fight for no reason. So I'm with you on that as well, actually.
I mean, the only other stuff that I don't like have been the bugs. I've seen animation glitches. I've seen T-posing.
Yeah.
I've seen graphical popping, but that's just me. I'm not keen on that.
Yeah.
But they like a lot of them have been fixed, and CD Projekt Red have said that they're going to fix them further in 7 days' time.
Yeah.
As time of recording. So
it's hard. Yeah. It is hard to, say things about what we don't like at this point when we know it's still early days for the game. Yeah. And there's so much more to come and change.
Yeah. It feels like, I mean, I was going to bring this up later on, but I thought it best bring it up now. People are expecting Cyberpunk 2077 to come out and it was be finished instantly. It's not going to be like that, and The Witcher 3 wasn't like that. I think this is literally just the start of Cyberpunk 2077, and I think it might expand through the future. I mean, we know we've got DLCs coming on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of DLC, funnily enough,
in
a gaming podcast, do you want to talk about what you would like for the future of Cyberpunk and what kind of DLC you would like them to bring on?
Well, I think that we've already mentioned I want to be able to change my character after the fact. The world is such an open, you be who you want to be and be free and do what you want to do and all this. But I still feel very restricted in terms of how you look and who you are as an actual character. So I feel like post-story content where you can do that would be nice. If this story requires you to be the way you are until the end of the story, then I don't mind that.
I doubt you will.
Yeah, but I don't mind it as long as eventually we could do that. Multiplayer is going to keep me in the game. As soon as I'm finished with this story, unless I haven't watched by that point in time the intro to Corpo or anything like that, I don't think there's going to be alternate endings to this story. I feel like
there are alternate endings to the story. They've already confirmed this.
Okay.
There are expansions coming as well. I remember them saying about the whole changing gender thing. They were saying that, going from male V to female V in the middle of the story, it would just suddenly change everything that you've done previously. And it apparently it was very difficult for them to figure out, but maybe they will figure it out. I hope they will figure it out.
That's what I'm saying though. I don't mind that kind of a change being accessible after the main story's done. Maybe after the story's done, then you can go ahead and do whatever the hell you want until the next set of DLC or whatever. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to be able to change and I want more customization. You get maybe 8 to 12 different bits of customization at the start of the game per thing you want to change. I just want to see more of that.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen something around the ears, around my shoulder, because those are things that I actually have scars of. And, those are things that would be cool for me to have had something to make myself feel more like I'm in the game kind of thing.
Cheekbones as well.
Yeah. So, just more customizing and multiplayer stuff, more story. I think we're going to need more story. 2078,
I mean, we know multiplayer is in development. It's going to be standalone, though. So what they're going to do with that, I have no idea.
Yeah, but it is mainly a single player game, and other than the fact that there's going to be different endings supposedly, I'm not sure like how far it can go past that at this point in time. Like for me, because the world, even though it is so huge and there's a lot of small interactions to make, there's not really a lot of depth to the vast majority of interactions. It's kind of like one-time things that then you do and then they're done, and you can't really go back and experience something new again in that situation kind of thing. So, maybe some new sort of in-the-world interaction-based stuff with different people and different characters and things that really keep you invested in the world would be what I would be looking for, What about you? What are you looking for?
I mean, obviously I'm looking forward to the expansions and seeing if it takes place after the campaign. I don't know the ending yet, and I do want to experiment with different endings and see how things change, if they're minor or major things. Customization, definitely. I want more customization for V. I want more customization in cars. I know they originally planned that, but they apparently they ran out of time or something happened.
Yeah.
I just want to make it more personal to me. I want to go to the Crystal Palace, which is the space station. I just want more story, more Night City to kind of keep us going until the multiplayer comes out in 2022.
Yeah. And one of the things I want to say about the game as well, which maybe you'll have something to say about, is that I feel like sometimes when you get options during like story missions and stuff to make different choices, sometimes I'm left feeling a little bit like it didn't matter which one I said. Like it didn't matter which choice I made in terms of, do I tell someone about this? Do I not tell someone about this? I don't feel like that has impacted the story at all yet. It kind of some of it just kind of gets forgotten about, and then you move on. And quite a few times there's been interactions where you can take a different approach to your answer to a question or a different response to what's happening that seem like very contrasting two different sides of the coin. Like you saying this would change quite a lot compared to this, but then in the end it didn't really matter anyway. I'm just wondering what you think about that, because you played a bit more than me, but so far the things that I have come across where I've been able to make decisions almost don't seem to have impacted what actually happens in the story at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that some decisions don't come back until like later on. Very later on, you're just like, oh, hell, yeah, I remember that. Oh, Christ. But I mean, I guess not every decision has an impact. And I suppose that's very akin to real life.
I just feel like there's quite a lot of illusion of choice happening in the story right now instead of actual choices. I feel like I'm just being swindled into making me feel like I've made a decision when I've not. And that's kind of probably one of the only issue in the story side of things that I'm having right now, is that I want to be making decisions that do have an impact and do have a trickle effect, and they don't seem to have done that so far. But, could change. Like I'm looking forward to the bigger decisions that do make a difference, especially when it comes to like the ending. But if my decisions are only going to matter later on in the game, that's kind of a bit like I feel like I'm just being taken on a bit of a ride right now, which is okay because I'm loving the story anyway. But I would just like to feel sometimes like some of my bigger decisions that are kind of like completely contrasting choices throughout the story do actually matter. So far, like none of them really have, I don't think.
Yeah. One of the things I do want, I want more just stuff I can do to role play, like go to one of the food vendors, sit down and eat, or go to a bar and drink instead of going into a menu and clicking that. I prefer just more immersion.
Yeah, because right now you can only really like walk up to, like, let's say you go into a restaurant, you can walk up to the counter and buy something and put it in your inventory, and then that's it. You're kind of done. And it would have been nice to have been able to just sit down in the restaurant and have a look around and choose when you want to eat your food. And because I think that's one of the big points of this game, is that it is such a huge game with such a vast amount of immersion. Why take away from that and give people an interface instead of letting them pick from the actual menu at the table and have a waiter come over and just little bits like that. I agree with you there.
I mean, like I said, I think this is just the start of Cyberpunk 2077. I think like a year's time it's going to be so much more better than what we've got now. And I know we've spoken a lot about obviously immersion and role play and the stories and emotion. We haven't actually talked about like skills or inventory or anything like that.
My next thing that I was going to talk about was the skills. I've kind of found a little bit of a trick, which is probably not the best practice, but because I didn't really understand fully how the skill point system or leveling point system worked at all, because I didn't feel like it was properly explained, it got to a point where I was getting options to do stuff based on how much of a skill level in something I had. And I would go, oh, well, do I have those points? Like, I would then check my skill inventory and I'd have like 8 or 9 points available. I'd be like, oh, well, I'll just put 2 in this, and then I have that option available now. So I would just kind of peruse through the game, waiting until I needed to have a level in something to do that option. And I would just level it up and do it. So that just seemed to be, there was no issues doing that. I didn't feel the effect of not having certain skills at this point in time, obviously early on in the story. The other thing is like from the technical engineer side of things, where it's kind of like you have the choice to either, go in guns blazing, or maybe hack the camera or do something like that, hack the person or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have a choice still. I feel like, what happens? Oh, I hack into the cameras. Okay. Now I can see what's going on. Okay. That doesn't help me sneak through anywhere. Okay, so what else can I do? I can distract an enemy with the cameras, or I can distract an enemy by shutting down their optical sensors or something. Okay, but that instantly activates their I'm in fighting mode, not I'm able to sneak past you mode. So it doesn't matter whether I'm hacking the camera or hacking a person, I'm still engaging them immediately. There's no stealth to that. Like, I was assuming that I was going to be able to go, okay, I'm going to hack the camera here and switch it off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a distraction here, and then they're going to go over there, but they're all going to go over there. And then I'm going to be able to sneak past at this point. And I've not been able to do that yet.
Well, it's funny because I've been able to do exactly that.
I've just found it more of a trigger for combat than, like, there's less chances to do stealthy things, and that are
well, I mean, I've managed to do quite a few missions just entirely on stealth, do those kind of things which you just mentioned. Maybe could be the build that's wrong, or it could be the wrong mission you're doing it for, or
I was just about to say it could just be my build, because I wanted to get into the more stealthy stuff, because I'm getting a bit tired of just like, it's the problem is it's just quicker now. It's just quicker and easier to walk in with a gun and just kill everything and go through. It's like, it's less fun to try and do it stealthily, because like, these are just rooms and rooms of dudes with nothing interesting else to happen in them. You're just kind of like, hey, you've got the part of this story mission quest is you've got to get here because you're rescuing this person, for example. You've got to get them out of the building. Okay, so that just means I've got to go through 5 or 6 different rooms of useless stuff. There's nothing useful in them, and there's just going to be dudes there. So what am I going to do? Am I going to spend an extra 30 minutes figuring out how I'm going to sneak past them, or do I just walk in with this pistol and just bam, 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 just blast through everything? Well, I'm just going to blast through them because I don't feel engaged enough trying to do the stealthy stuff.
Yeah,
that's just me personally at this point in time. But
I mean, I always try and do stealth, and then I end up in combat because I suck, and I don't have my stealth or my hacking abilities up there. Mine's mainly a gun fighting or fighting build. But it's interesting because the skills that you use, like the way that you play, does affect the skills that you pick, and you can create builds to help you with more stealth or get more like demons to attack enemies with quick hacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is interesting. It's an interesting system, and I kind of prefer it because you can have different game saves with different builds. So, say like my Corpo V is more of a, well, I'll try and sneak in, but if it goes up in flames, well, I can start blasting my way out. Yeah. Whilst on my other save game, I'm like, well, I just want to be pure stealth and pure hacking. I can do that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe just part of my frustration to that part of the game is that I haven't played enough serious RPGs, I don't think, to already have this background knowledge that I feel like CD Projekt Red has expected you to have going into Cyberpunk. Like the skill tree stuff wasn't explained. The two different point systems weren't properly explained, or they weren't, like you weren't kind of told exactly that this is how to do this for this next thing or something. Yeah. Like in your inventory, there's like loads of stuff I still don't understand. Like you've got the chip, you've got like upgrades and mods on the chips, and none of this has been covered yet. And the only reason I know is because I've had to go in and have a look around, and you kind of pick it up as I go. But it's kind of like assumed knowledge that I just don't have about the game, and I don't think it was, presented to me properly in a way that I could understand it. It's the same with when you get that Matrix interface and you've got to figure out, you've got to and I literally only just figured out how to do that properly. It was never properly explained, and I think that a few people, not just me, have trouble with that. So there's a lot of like, we expect you to understand this mentality that I just haven't understood yet, and that probably is why I might be struggling a little bit more. But I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing either, because it will mean that once I get it, that maybe that's part of the maybe that's part of something, the development of my character and whatever. Yeah. So I'm trying not to complain too much about it, because I've only played a certain amount of hours. It's still only just come out, and they have already made all their money back on the game for the past 8 years. So there's only so much I can really say at this point. But we kind
of do have a limited scope until we finished it.
Yeah, that's true. But
I kind of like what we're doing, like the four of us, because we're all playing it and we're all kind of talk about our experiences and helping each other out. I kind of like that. Yeah,
the four of us being the other two over at the Get Real Pod, the show where they talk about movies and comics and TV shows, and
which they had a lot to talk about this week, like a lot to talk about. So
make sure you go check them out if you're into all that. I just think we're going to have to come and have a late Cyberpunk discussion at a time, because we're going to have to get through it.
I'm sure it'll come back up with the expansions and DLCs and stuff.
Even when we just finished the story, when we put enough hours in to really talk, because this is kind of a bit of an adventure for me in terms of playing a game by myself. That for me is also not new, but like I haven't done it in a long time. I haven't let myself get immersed into a game like this, to the point where it's 3:00 in the morning and I'm thinking, how the hell is it 3:00 in the morning?
I should probably know that feeling.
It does keep you going. Like
it does keep you going.
It really does. So that's obviously a huge plus.
Just one more quest. Just one more quest.
Oh yeah, just one more. But if I just go here, it'll this will be a good place to save just here. Okay, so next one, just do the next one.
That's happened. But Keanu Reeves is there. I can't let Keanu down.
Yeah. I just think it is still a great game. The only things we've really discussed, it's not as if we've got all the time to talk about all the things that we actually really like.
Yeah.
We're just nitpicking because we think those bits are probably the most important bits if you yourself are thinking about getting Cyberpunk or are interested to know what it lacks, maybe, whether your expectations can be curved based on what you think the game's going to be. But everything else about the game has been so good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say if you're going to get the game, don't get it on like a PlayStation 4 base or an Xbox One base.
No.
Or if you do get it on that, don't expect it to be like the videos.
You are going to be disappointed. I do think if that means you have to wait a bit longer, maybe over Christmas, maybe into next year, I think that's still going to be worth the wait, because by the time you do get to experience it, they've said they're putting out a patch in January, they're putting out a patch in February, and PC's also getting updates throughout the entire next, however long. So, the game will be better.
Yeah. One of the things which is annoying me a lot recently is everyone thinks this is going to be the next GTA. It is not the next GTA. It is an RPG. It is very different from GTA. Like, you can't go up and steal someone's random car.
Yeah, no, you can't. And what I think Cyberpunk is becoming is it's going to become like the new benchmark almost for next gen, more than the next GTA. It's going to become a new benchmark title to pit up against new hardware, new titles of the next gen gaming. And I'm just really excited to see how they develop it, because if they're going to add new content and new expansions and stuff, that can only be a good thing for this sort of a game. I think it's the perfect type of game to add content to a world that is so huge. They've got so much they can do to it and do with it, so that's really exciting as well.
It's more exciting, the potential. That's why I keep saying this is the start. It's not the end, or the middle. We've started this journey. It's now time to see where it goes from here.
And I think more than anything else, it has actually met quite a high expectation of next gen for this generation.
Yes.
Like we think about last generation when we had the Xbox One and PS4 and they launched, and you look back at the games that were coming out on launch for that, and then by the end of the generation, what the games look like now, now they look like Cyberpunk, that kind of thing. Cyberpunk has already set such a great standard of games for this generation that we're going into now that it's very exciting. It's like the other day, I think we watched like a Hitman trailer for the new Hitman game, and like Hitman is would we consider that a AAA title or something, or maybe a
Hitman's definitely a AAA title.
Well, it looked like an indie game compared to Cyberpunk. Like, literally, there was nothing about Hitman that looked AAA when you put it side by side with Cyberpunk.
Even down to the animation, like the manual animation NPCs make, you can't help but get absorbed by when they're talking.
Literally, yeah. I was actually just kind of a bit blown away by how like you said, the way they talk to you and the animations and the detail, because that's what it comes down to. Just the level of detail is beyond.
Oh
and
my God, the detail.
To pack all of that into a game that's only like 80 gigabytes at this point in time, 80 to 90, depending on where you are.
I would be driving down like the main highway of Night City. I'd open up my phone app and just call one of the random NPCs and have a conversation with them while I'm driving.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what's going on. Are they okay? After what recently happened, or, whatever, anything like that. Like, I want that to be expanded. I want to say, oh, do you want to go grab some drinks? And we'll go have some drinks or whatever. I just want that, but more. Just give me more, and I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I think if they I've read this on like Twitter and Reddit, and I kind of agree with them. They should have cut off PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and just focused on the next gen. Personally, for me, so then they can add that more detail in it, because it kind of feels like they're holding back because of the last gen. Consoles.
Think so?
They spent all that time just working on the last gen and QA testing for the last gen and all that, when all those resources could have just been used for the next gen and make it a next gen title. Not only would it push consoles, but also push PC units as well.
I mean,
so
like, I agree with you for a lot of that case, but I do think that, like, so for instance, I'm playing on a 1070 Ti still on a 1440p monitor. The game runs okay. I'm getting like 40 to like, low 40s to 50, sometimes dropping into the 30s. Yeah. And that's with resolution scaling at about 80% at this point in time. And I feel like a lot of that, the ability for me to enjoy the game at the level that I'm enjoying it, will have come down to that. But the fact that they've done so much optimization that they have been able to do, but also because of the shortage of next-gen consoles right now, you know, if they hadn't have put this out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, you could only imagine that, you know, I imagine that those are two of the bigger markets right now. I do feel like next-gen consoles are the minority of their sales right now, based on the fact that they're so scarce and hard to get hold of. You know, isn't the PS5 version still just the PlayStation 4 version anyway?
For now, yes. I've actually looked at the pre-order sales for Cyberpunk.
Okay.
It's actually the consoles which is the minority.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
By 18%.
Oh, compared to PC.
Compared to PC. PC is the highest majority.
But again, I could say even in that case, the shortage of RTX cards right now, 30 series stuff. Nobody wants to buy a 20 series to play Cyberpunk, you know. So like me,
CD Projekt Red has always been known for their kind of optimization. I mean, The Witcher 3 looked amazing on low at my bloody, you know, a 960, you know, all graphics card. Yeah, I mean, it is
like I'm still able to play on like I should really not be using things like subsurface scattering at 1440p. I'm still able to get like low to medium on that at the frame rate I am between 30 and 50 depending on the scene, you know, and those are the trade-offs that you have to evaluate for yourself and what you personally preference the look of. I think that, you know, because the game is the way it is, it's an RPG, they can get away with that. Like I can get away with playing the game at 30 to 40 FPS just because like it's an RPG and it doesn't need to be like, you know, so at this point in time, you know, as soon as multiplayer comes as a standalone, that better be running smoothly. You know, that's going to be the real test. I don't see multiplayer coming to PS4 or Xbox One.
No.
Oh, boy. They would have to literally make a mobile Cyberpunk for it to run on it.
Legacy version.
Legacy, yeah.
So I'm glad you brought up multiplayer because it's going to be the last topic we're going to cover today. What do you want the Cyberpunk multiplayer to be like?
I want story. I think there should be some fun competitive side of it that's like maybe TDM, shoot 'em up or katana, slash 'em type game modes.
Like car races?
Yeah, like races, definitely racing. But yeah, I would prefer multiplayer story stuff. I think that would be because the gunplay is the last bit about Cyberpunk that I care about right now. The story is what I care about. The characters is what I care about. The role-playing is what I care about. The gunplay is second to all of that inside of Cyberpunk. So I don't think the multiplayer should focus on it. I don't think we should be all competing. I think we should all be like working together to do something, you know. What about you? What do you...
So before I get to what I want, because it's a very extensive list...
I can imagine you've probably got a pretty extensive list.
Oh, hell yes, I do. What could you compare the Cyberpunk 2077 or Cyberpunk multiplayer to on like what we already have already?
Ooh, Halo.
Halo? You'd want it to be like Halo?
Yeah, if you could co-op through some story stuff a bit like Halo, that would be nice. You know, obviously I'd love a bit more immersive roleplay than Halo. But it's the fact that you could go in co-op together in a game and get through, you know, and there is story, you know, in Halo that you can do together. I think Halo just has a complex enough story to carry 4 people anyway, you know, so
yeah.
I don't really know if there's any better comparison to that at this point.
Well, I've got a good comparison, but
comparison. Well, hold on, because what, you know, what about like MMO style? Like dungeon type or, you know, PvE MMO style. Like I'd love Cyberpunk MMO style co-op. That would be you just kind of hit the nail on the head for me. It's kind of my idea of Cyberpunk multiplayer would be an MMO, so a massive world where everyone can run around and do that kind of stuff, but almost in like the GTA Online style where you can have your own apartment, you can go shopping, you can, you know, use your money that you've earned doing the MMO quests to kind of buy stuff for you and your apartment. You can invite your friends over, you can have parties, you know, it's almost like a social
MMO with those kind of PvE stuff mixed in together in this big boiling pot.
Yeah, I feel like it would, for me, I would prefer it to be without the kind of PvP madness you can get in GTA, where like you might just be trying to do something with your friends and all of a sudden someone else comes in and ruins it.
Yes,
that part I
do not want.
No,
like,
don't want any of that.
I want it so it's like there's a segment where, like, say there's an arena, you go fight there, or something like that, other servers which you play PvP.
Yeah,
I would love for us to be able to join like one of the big corporations, or maybe one of the gangs, or one of the nomad groups, or just go it solo.
And like an MMO, it would be nice if, the enemies that we were, or the gangs or the corps, whatever you were fighting against, everyone could kind of just show up and join in. And instead of it being about you versus you, I think that the world would be very PvE based, apart from, like you said, special events or certain areas where things are PvP and can get a bit crazy.
Yeah. So, like, say there's like a gang warfare between the Valentinos and the Maelstrom. And it's like, it comes up a notification on your phone and you hit yes and you get a waypoint. You drive to the waypoint and it's just that instanced PvP between characters and players versus other characters and players. So it's that PvEVP kind of thing going on.
Definitely. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Sign me up. Give me that. That's all I want. Be able to go to, like, say, talk to your mates on Discord. Oh, should we go to Japantown and get some ramen? And you all go to like the restaurant and you actually buy ramen, and you're eating and you're just talking. It's that social aspect alongside like the content. I think would be key for the Cyberpunk multiplayer.
And then we can tie it all together with the idea of being able to completely re-customize your character and have so much more cosmetic items and stuff and all that. Yeah, and it's a recipe for all good things to come.
Bring back what happened in the Matrix Online, where it had a massive story and the players helped contribute to that story, and the players' choices helped make that story become very personal to the server.
Yeah.
And you could play like story missions and stuff like that solo or with a group. In like a Destiny-esque way, I suppose.
Yeah.
But just kind of be very much like Matrix Online, the way that they made it very customizable, very story-driven, but also had a big community. Just make it Cyberpunk and next gen.
If you're listening, CD Projekt Red, which you're not, but
you might,
that's the recipe. That's the recipe. There you go. There you go.
We take 20% cuts.
20%. Yeah. But until then, Lawrence, that will be it for today's show, I believe. We're just going to have to keep going through the story, and now you can get back to it. I've taken up enough of your time.
Thank you. Right.
Bye. See you later. But thanks, everybody, for listening. We hope that you are enjoying Cyberpunk 2077. If you want to let us know how your time in Night City is going, you can let us know on any of the socials at GetRealPod. And also you can send us an email to getrealpoduk@gmail.com. Yeah, so you can also go to speakpipe.com/getrealgaming and just record as a very quick voice clip and send us a voice clip about Cyberpunk, your experience in Cyberpunk, and you send that over to us there too, and we might put it in the show. And until then, we hope you guys have a great rest of your week. It's almost Christmas, so we'll be seeing you next week just before Christmas, I believe, and then we will.
Let me check the diary.
It's Wednesday. We'll be the 23rd.
23rd. Ooh,
so we'll be doing. We will still be putting out an episode next week, so don't you worry. But until then, have a good one. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Can I get out your head now?
Yeah, you can take out the chip. Oh God.
Okay.
You're itchy.
I'm itchy.
You're itchy.
It feels so good to be back out of my own body. It's weird. Ugh. 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 Ugh.